My grandfather's ribs snapped like dry sticks when two men in fake HOA vests shoved him down our front steps. His scream wasn't just pain. It was rage. 82 years of stubborn defiance crashing into concrete. And the police. They shrugged, filed it as an accident, and drove away. That was the night I realized we weren't just dealing with scammers, we were fighting something much bigger and much darker. It had started so ordinary. I was in my home office debugging code, Tuesday night coffee half finished, when I heard voices rising outside. Through the blinds, I saw them, two guys in matching navy vests, clipboards in hand, Sterling Management Group, HOA Enforcement printed across their backs. They looked professional enough to fool anyone. Derek, tall and stiff-backed like some ex-security guard, had this calm, clinical way of speaking, and Troy, shorter, bulkier, kept twitching like he was itching for a fight. And then there was Grandpa Joe. He's lived in that house for 3 decades, stubborn Irish temper and all, still does his own taxes, still beats me at chess. He didn't even let them finish their spiel. "We don't have an HOA, and I sure as hell didn't vote for one," he barked through the screen door. Derek kept that smooth voice talking fines violations, legal proceedings like it was all routine. He held out paperwork that looked legit, but Joe saw through them. He turned, said he was calling the cops, and that's when Derek gave him the shove. I'll never forget the sound bones breaking my grandfather gasping for air and those bastards pretending to be concerned citizens. By the time paramedics loaded Joe into the ambulance, Derek had his worried neighbor act down perfectly. The officer believed him, believed them. Just a civil dispute, nothing to see here. I wanted to scream. When Becky got home from work and I told her, she paced the living room horrified. But her answer cut me deeper than she realized. "Maybe we should just pay the fine, Josh. It's only $500. Only. Like this was about money. Like my grandfather's blood on the porch was some clerical fee we could write off. The bills started rolling, and 11 grand in hospital charges, oxygen tanks, scans, medication. Insurance said they wouldn't cover it because it happened during a civil violation. I was drowning. I took unpaid leave just to manage the chaos. And in the middle of that spiral, Becky repeated it again. Just pay and move on. That's when the doubt crept in. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was being reckless, dragging us deeper into a fight we couldn't win. Maybe I should swallow my pride and cave. But then I called my cousin Mike, Marine vet president of the Steel Ravens Motorcycle Club, a guy who never says stand down when family's at stake. I told him everything. He didn't hesitate. "Family protects family when the system fails," he said. Within an hour, 15 bikers were parked outside my house, engines growling like a promise. For the first time, I felt like maybe we weren't alone. Still, the wolves kept circling. A few nights later, Derek and Troy came back. This time, the fine had doubled. They expected us to break, but instead, a woman I'd never met stepped onto the porch. Megan Garcia. Mid-40s, glasses, neat suit, carrying a folder thick with legal codes. She dismantled those 2 con men with calm authority, quoting statutes threatening fraud charges. Watching them slink away was the first taste of victory I'd had since this started. Megan became our anchor. She brought soup for Grandpa, organized paperwork, explained the laws like she'd lived in the courthouse. She spoke with such conviction that even Becky, who had been begging me to give up, finally exhaled and said, "Thank God someone knows what they're doing." And I believed her. I believed every word. Then came the crack in the mask. At a neighborhood meeting, Megan had organized Ellen, our retired schoolteacher neighbor, admitted she'd already paid $800 after a threatening call. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Josh, the woman on the phone." I swear it was Megan's voice. I laughed it off at first, tried to convince myself Ellen was mistaken. But her certainty haunted me. That night, I dug into Sterling Management's website, used my coding skills to crawl through their backend, and what I found made me sick. Surveillance photos of every house on our street. Notes about who was vulnerable, who had money, who lived alone. And the email threads instructions straight from an address registered to Monsieur Garcia. Megan hadn't been saving us. She'd been running the entire con. My stomach turned cold. Every smile, every piece of advice, every story about her own father being scammed, it was theater. She studied us like lab rats building trust just to harvest it later. I'd let her into my home, my family, my hope, and she'd been the enemy all along. For a moment, I almost gave up. What chance did I have against someone that cunning? She had fake companies, fake lawyers, even a sheriff's deputy on her payroll. I sat in the dark, staring at my laptop, wondering if this fight was suicidal. Maybe Becky was right. Maybe I should just cut losses. But then I opened Grandpa's file. 3 pages of notes, his routines, his meds, his war service. Primary resistance target she'd written requires physical intimidation due to strong will. My 82-year-old grandfather had been marked like prey. That did it. Doubt vanished. I wasn't going to roll over, I was going to burn her empire to the ground. The final act came fast. Derek, trembling, showed up at my door. He'd had enough. He handed me recordings of Megan ordering assaults, laughing about Grandpa's broken ribs. She threatened my parole officer. He said she destroyed my life. For the first time, I saw fear in him, but it was aimed at her, not us. When Megan arrived the next morning with the deputy and foreclosure papers, she was still in character. Polished professional, pretending it was just legitimate debt collection. But the moment Derek stepped forward with his envelope of evidence, her mask cracked. Her eyes went wide, then narrow with rage. She tried spinning it, calling him a liar, but his recordings told the truth. And then came the roar. 40 Harleys storming down the street. Steel ravens from 3 chapters answering the call. They surrounded the house, leather and chrome glinting in the sun, engines rumbling like thunder. Neighbors poured onto lawns. Reporters arrived. The whole neighborhood, the whole country was about to see who she really was. Megan shouted, her voice shrill now, no trace of calm. These bikers have no legal authority. But Tank Johnson, 6'4" of muscle, stepped up, handed her a fake violation notice for fraud against the community, his voice booming. The crowd laughed, cameras clicked, and Megan's composure shattered. The deputy hesitated, radio crackling with orders, clearly realizing he'd been played. Then FBI agents appeared, evidence in hand, my files, Derek's tapes, Ellen's recordings. Megan tried one last performance, but she lost it completely, screaming at us across the yard. You were all easy targets. Old fools deserve to lose money if they're stupid enough. Her words sealed her fate. The cameras caught every second, her mask gone forever. Handcuffs clicked around her wrists as agents dragged her away. Her empire collapsing in front of the people she thought were too weak to fight back. And just like that, the nightmare ended. When predators underestimate the wrong family, they don't just lose, they get exposed.